My name is John, and yesterday we went to the Japanese New Year's festival down in LA, and I bought this stuff. It's called Mochi, or Mochi rice cakes. Basically, they're just little rice cakes made into little balls. Apparently, they eat these a lot in Japan for New Year's. When I was in Japan, I saw some of these, and they had bean curd inside, and they were sweet, and these were good. But these by themselves are horrible. They're bland. They're like a rice cake that is not as flaky and not as good. But I saw this video on the internet on how to make pizza out of this stuff, which I thought was really interesting. So that's what I'm going to try to do now, is make rice cake pizza. So we'll see how that turns out. And so for this, you're going to need mochi rice cakes. You can buy these at a Japanese specialty store. A little bit of oil, some pizza sauce that you can get at any grocery store here in the United States. That's really easy to do. And any toppings that you want on your pizza. So let's go ahead and try it. Okay, I'm here with my mochi rice balls. I have 6 of them here. These mochi rice balls are going to be the dough in my pizza. And so I'm going to do 6 of them. The thing about these rice cakes, these mochi rice cakes, is they're really hard. They're like kind of like white hockey pucks. I mean, they have a little bit of flexibility, but not much. So in order to make a better dough out of them, we're going to have to cut them up and I guess rehydrate them a little bit. So we're going to try that. But the first step is we're going to cut them. And we're going to cut them into pieces about that wide. We're going to cut 3 pieces per slice. So we're going to do that and go ahead and cut these into 3 pieces. Cut each one of these balls into 3 pieces. And I'll do that and show you how it looks like. Okay, so here I am with my mochi rice balls. As you can see, I've cut them into 3 slices here of more or less equal size. I mean, I wasn't perfect, but this was enough. They are very hard to cut. I used a very sharp knife. You can see I use a chopping knife here. It's a very sharp chopping knife, and that was able to cut through them. But that's about how you want them. They kind of look like potato slices, but they're rice slices. So we're going to take them over to the frying pan. And okay, I'm back. I'm now over at my range top here. What I have here, I'm going to zoom into that a little bit, is some canola oil. I put just enough canola oil in a saucepan that I have a lid for. See, I have this lid for. And just enough so that I can just barely cover the surface of my pan. So I'm just barely covering the surface. And so now that I've just covered the surface with this, I have it, by the way, on just a low to medium heat. Just enough so I can simmer. A lot of this is going to be simmering, which is just fine. With that, I'm going to put my mochi, and for this is kind of like a puzzle piece. I'm going to puzzle it in as if I were actually going to make a pizza dough, which here in the States most pizza doughs are round, but all my pieces were round, so it's kind of like having a little jigsaw puzzle here. Okay, I'm back now, and most of the bottom on this thing has melted. You can tell that because, see, as I move the thing around, it moves all in one even surface there. And so now it's time for me to add a little bit of water. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. Not much. I don't want to drown it. But this is going to help melt it in a little bit more. So I've added a little bit of water. And I'm going to cover. And I'm going to cover that for another 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, I'm looking at it. I know that the water is done. That water stage is done because it's nice and melty now. And all the water got absorbed. So once you know that all the water is absorbed, you need to flip it over. And I need 2 hands to flip it over, so I'm going to pause to flip it. Okay, so I flipped it over. And you'll see it's a little bit golden brown on the bottom. And I'm just kind of flattening it out. Now it's kind of like cheese consistency. And so I can really flatten it out. So those 3 little mochi balls that were all hard and stuff before, now they're nice and soft. And so I can almost like a regular pizza, push it out with my hand, but you gotta be careful because it's kind of kind of like cheese. You don't want to get too much. And I'm going to turn down the burner just a little bit because I don't want it to burn too fast. Okay, so I got some pizza sauce there, and that's going to be the first thing that I put on the bottom. And then I've got some cheese over here, and then over here I have some more cheese, and I have some ham. These are just the toppings that I want to put on it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now I have my pizza. For my particular pizza, I chose some ham, feta, and provolone cheese, and I'm just going to top that off, and I'm probably going to bring the temperature back up a little bit, and basically I'm just trying to melt the cheese until it's nice and golden brown at this point. So, it's been about 3 minutes later, and as you can see, my cheese is very done now. It's all melted in, and looks like my ham's been cooked well. Got a good crust going on the bottom here, I can see. It looks almost like normal pizza. So I think the last step here is just to take it out and try it. Okay folks, I'm back. Well, in the beginning we had these little mochi rice balls. I got these, like I said, at the Japanese festival. I actually got them on discount. They were really cheap. I got it for just $1. And so it started out like that. And now the finished product looks like that. Oh, looks really good. So with that in place, I think I'm ready to try it now. I have a pizza cutter here, but obviously you don't need a pizza cutter. It's very soft now. Before it was very hard, but now it's very soft, and I can cut it no problem with this pizza cutter. It's cutting very hard. I'm having more of a problem of it melting to my pizza cutter. I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it, but I got it separated here. And so now we got to taste it. Still pretty hot, steaming. Let's see how it worked out. This is really good. Or as the Japanese say, umai. This is really good. It's a lot different than what it was like before. The bottom is like your traditional cracker type rice cake. Very crunchy, very nice. Not as yeasty as regular pizza dough. And then the top is just like regular pizza. It's really good. Everything's melty and it's nice and chewy, but yet you have this kind of crackly on the outside because of the
I wanna leave you, but your cooking's too good. I wanna leave you, but your cooking's too good.